Hi, welcome to 𝐂𝐿 Academy. Let's start our lesson with Start with Profit Margin. It's important to dive into the figures at this point and assess your product's overall landed cost. Now, let's start with landed cost. The total cost per unit delivered to your door, or straight to Amazon's warehouse if you choose that option, is known as the landed cost. Simply create a new tab in your spreadsheet and perform some basic calculations to sum all of the prices associated with your order. Then divide that total by the number of products in your order to obtain the cost per item. What are the various cost situations for which we must account? Number 1. Product cost. This is the price given to you by the supplier, which is usually in US dollars. Packaging fees, as well as any branding or customization costs, will be included. In a nutshell, this is the total price you will pay your provider for your order. Because the number will be in US dollars, you need convert the currency using a website like www.𝐻𝐸.com to receive the most up-to-date exchange rate. It won't be 100% accurate because your bank won't give you the market's going rate. Instead, you'll get a lower rate, but www.𝐻𝐸.com is good enough for now. Number 2. Shipping cost. Depending on the shipping option you choose, you'll get these expenses from the supplier or a freight forwarder. If the items are small and light, and you utilize a courier to ship them, the supplier will provide you with shipping rates. If, on the other hand, you plan to ship by air or sea, a freight forwarder will provide you with a shipping cost estimate. Number 3. Import duty. Your items will be cleared via customs when they arrive in the UK, and you will be charged import duty. The rate of import duty varies by product and can range from 0% to 12%. In extreme cases, much more so. However, it is usually less than 5%, with 2 to 3% being the most common. You should double-check the actual figure on the HMRC website to ensure that you know how much you'll have to pay. Number 4. VAT. The standard interest rate is 20%. However, some commodities may have a lower VAT rate. The actual VAT rate can be found via the Trade Tariff tool or by contacting the HMRC hotline. The calculation of import duty and VAT is a little strange, but it's not too difficult to grasp. Number 5. Inspection cost. You should be aware that before products are given to you, you should have a third-party company inspect your order. It does, however, cost $100, and you'll normally do this for the first 3 to 4 orders you place with a new supplier. What is the easy formula for calculating import duty and value-added tax or VAT? Import duty is calculated solely on the value of the products, excluding shipping and all other costs. For example, if the items cost £500, you would multiply that number by the import duty rate, say 5%, to get the import duty, which would be £25 in this case. Then add up all of the costs, including product shipping and import duty, and multiply by the VAT rate, which in most situations is 20%. So, if the product cost £500, shipping was £100, and import duty was £25, you add them all up to get £625. Then increase that by 20% to obtain the final VAT amount. It's £125 in this scenario. If the goods cost £500 and shipping was £100, you will be charged £25 in import duty and £125 in VAT. Your landing cost of goods is calculated by adding all of these costs together. To calculate your landed cost per item, divide this value by the number of items. This is the number you'll work with and base your decisions on while trying to make a change. Changing your shipping method, for example, to see how it affects your landed unit cost, or increasing or decreasing your order size to see how it impacts your landed unit cost. There are numerous instances where people are unaware of their landed cost per item. This is a number that you just must know in order to run a business. You can't figure out your profit, margins, or anything else for that matter. Quick tip. Compute all expenses and obtain your landed item cost number once you receive prices from suppliers. The costs of brand creation, logo packaging, design, and product photography are one-time expenses that will only apply to your first sale. Do not include these in the product cost because they are more of an investment to start a business. How can you use the Fulfillment by Amazon Revenue Calculator to quickly calculate a potential profit? Number 1. Use competitor listings that sell a similar product to the one you'll be selling. You can either enter the ASIN number from a specific listing or search for the product by name. Once you've chosen an item, double-check that the size and weight are the same as, or very close to, your item. It should not be less than your product's size and weight. As a result, the figures will be inaccurate. In this scenario, look through other listings to find one that is close to the weight and dimensions of your item. Number 2. Enter the price of the product. This is the price at which you intend to sell the item on Amazon. Number 3. Ship to Amazon must be 0 because shipping charges are already included in your total item costs. You'll have to include local shipping expenses if you're shipping goods to yourself first and then to Amazon. For example, if you know you'll send 200 units through courier and it'll cost you £10, put £10 there because that's how much Amazon shipping will cost you each item. Number 4. Enter the item's landed cost. Lastly, click the Calculate button. This will show you how much you'll spend in FBA fees, seller fees, and what your net profit will be after all expenses. So you won't have to make any manual calculations here. You may, of course, conduct these calculations manually by looking up your product's FBA and seller costs. But there's no necessity to do so because the calculator is extremely precise as long as the product dimensions are identical. For these calculations, Amazon provides net margin, which is a very essential metric on which you should base your product selection. It's not enough to make a profit overall. You also need a big margin to fund paid advertising. What margin and profit should you strive for? In general, the smaller the price of the product, the larger the net margin you'll need to accomplish, as a £5 item won't be a sensible investment if the net margin is only 20%. When it comes to products that sell for less than £30 on Amazon, which is the price range that most of you will stick to, a 30 to 50% margin is recommended. Your net profit margin should be around 30% or greater if you sell an item on Amazon for £20 to £30. If the item is priced between £10 and £20, aim for a 40% profit margin. If the product is priced between £5 and £10, you should strive for a 40 to 50% profit margin. These are only recommendations. Of course, other situations exist. For example, if the product you want to sell has little competition, you won't need to spend as much money on promotion to get it rated well. If you want to use paid advertising effectively, you should aim for bigger margins if the item has a lot of competitors. Remember that net margin isn't just determined by the cost of the products. Your goal and purpose is to make the best version of the product possible so that you may charge above average pricing and retain a high profit margin. You aren't in this to make £1 on a £15 sell. You want to generate a profit of at least £5 on such an item. This is when your research into the product and creation of a customized version will pay off. For you, a better product means a higher price and greater profit margins. You won't know exactly how much you'll be able to sell the item for until it's too late. However, based on your top rivals' listings, you should have a good notion. Obviously, the price of a product is still significant. And you may always work on lowering the ultimate landing cost by negotiating with a different supplier, placing a larger order, and so on. But, as I previously stated, product expenses are only a small part of overall costs, and therefore won't have as much of an impact on your margins as you may assume. Packaging is also critical, especially if the product size or weight falls into an 𝐹𝐵𝒂𝒃 group that is on the borderline. You can check 𝐹𝐵𝒂𝒃s separately on Amazon's help pages to see if you can save money by reducing the item's size or weight. All you have to do now is consider how you might reduce costs and boost your profit margins. You are familiar with your product and customer, and you are capable of coming up with the most innovative ideas. Perhaps you do need to manufacture that overly crammed product version in order to boost your profit margins. Maybe you don't need the cardboard packing after all, and you can just use plastic bags instead, which will save you money on shipping and FBA fees. Alternatively, you may need to abandon some of your customization ideas because they are prohibitively expensive. Consider all of this and play with the statistics to see how your profit margins change in different scenarios. If you utilize all of these strategies and still can't make a reasonable profit on paper, it's likely that you choose the wrong item for your purchasing power. You won't be able to buy enough units to make it lucrative. Because there are so many merchants selling the same thing, the item is simply too competitive, and margins are tight. In either case, you'll have no choice but to abandon your product concept and return to the drawing board. Make your own market research and come up with new product ideas. It's much better to stop now, when you haven't invested any money, than to do it later, as difficult as it may sound. It's always possible to wish for a miracle. The numbers, on the other hand, never lie. If they don't exhibit a good profit potential, it's just not a good product for you to sell. Don't become upset or sad about it. It's all part of the learning process and how you discover fantastic goods and niches through trial and error. Yes, it will take some time. And, yes, it involves a significant amount of effort. However, no one said it would be simple. Isn't there a reason you're here? Good. Then just continue with it and come up with new product concepts. Congratulations! You've just completed this topic. See you in the next lesson.